Good day, Kabibal, and welcome to our Facebook Live learning session. For the discussion this morning, our topic will be building capacity for parents, new roles, responsibilities, and necessary preparation to support their children in their new learning modalities. Before we begin, take note of the following reminders. Make sure you are registered to the webinar to have your e-certificate of participation. Visit certificate.bibalgroup.com to generate your proof of attendance. Place your question on the comment box allotted during the session and they will be addressed by our speaker later on. Share the video using hashtag LearnAsOnePH as our official hashtag to our Vibal webinars. Experience learning, Kabibal. And now, to proceed with our webinar this morning, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our distinguished speaker. Dr. Mercelita Jandayan-Labial is a recipient of international and national awards, among which are Fulbright Doctoral Dissertation Scholarship in the U.S., International Leaders in Education Program in the U.S., Amazing Minds in the Southeast Asia, one of Yahoo Philippines' most inspiring educators in the news, PERAA's Most Outstanding Teacher, and Metrobank's Outstanding Teacher of the Philippines. Her primary research focus is on integration of current and emerging technology tools and application into high school and university instruction to enhance teaching. Her doctoral dissertation is titled The Efficiency in Web Quest: Its Implications to Students' Critical Thinking Skills. Dr. Labial is a prolific speaker and presenter with a clientele that includes global, government agency in the Philippines, and private sectors firms on topics about leadership in the 21st century, improving office productivity, educational leadership, teacher training, classroom management, technology and education, interpersonal communication, personal effectiveness, project management, effective communication, speech and public speaking. In the Philippines, she has given trainings and talks to DepEd, DPWH, DOH, OWA, DSWVP, Philippine Army, DOLE, Population Commission, Philippine Sports Authority, Philippine Public Safety, Philippine National Volunteers Commission, among others. Her international audiences include those in Japan, Macau, Vietnam, Australia, Kent State University in Ohio, India, and San Diego, California. At present, she is the proprietor of NJL Review and Training Services, which provides reviews for ILS OET-led civil services, the president of the Network of Outstanding Teachers and Educators of Northern Mindanao chapter, a professor at the Graduate School of Capital University, a life coach, and a thesis and dissertation advisor and editor. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Mercelita Jandayan-Labial.
Thank you very much, Miss CM and Miss Michelle. Thank you very much for assisting. We apologize for the delay because we encountered technical problems here on my end. So we apologize for that. And so welcome again to our webinar on capacitating parents to support children in their new learning modalities. So this is my third, my third session with Vibal, and I'm very happy to speak again to our teachers. I'm sure many of our teachers are watching. Thank you very much for coming over and being online to watch this video. And thank you also our parents who are here, who are interested to listen to this talk. Thank you for being with us. So with that, I'd like to begin by showing you the first slide, capacitating parents to support children in their new learning modalities. This is our topic for this morning. So before we can capacitate our parents to support their children, we have to be familiar with the new learning modalities. So for those of you parents who are listening now, be familiar with the modalities that your children are having in their schools. So For the modalities, we of course we cannot meet face to face at this time. So we are following the distance learning. So with distance learning, we have the ODL, or the online distance learning. This can be done synchronously or asynchronously, and most of the private schools are doing this. Okay, and we also have the MDL, or the modular distance learning. This is used by DepEd, and two options: the digital mode and the digital module and the printed module. We will talk later about the modules. Now we will talk in depth about the modules. Now, whether your child is having the ODL or the MDL, whatever modality there is, the support and guidance of parents are vital for the learning growth of the child. Now, time has it that even before this pandemic, the parents' role, that is of being the first teachers of the children, has been given, such that we already know that it's a no-brainer. We know that the parents' role really is basically teachers, the first teachers to their children. Prior to this pandemic, with the changing times, and as our lives have been changed by the advances in technology, somehow our role as parents to educate the child has been passed on to a certain extent, to the educational institutions or schools. The crisis has brought us back to the basics, right? So even mothers now who are multitasking, if before our role was to just send our children to school and let the school do the educating of our children, this time, even if mothers are busy, we are brought back to the basics. Like, we are led back to the path where we are supposed to be really teaching our children. I'm not discounting here the role of the fathers. So the fathers are also, not only the mothers are multitasking, the fathers are also multitasking. In fact, some researches are showing that the roles of fathers are really instrumental in affecting positive results in the learning growth of their children. So both mothers and fathers are doing wonders really in educating their children. And then we ask the question, despite the busy schedule that parents have, that mothers and fathers have, why do we bother to continue our children with providing our children with the education they need despite this crisis? So we ponder, bakit nga ba? We are pushing, or we are wanting to continue the learning of our kids despite this pandemic? What is really the overarching reason why we wanting them to continue learning? Although I cannot hear your responses, but it's clear to me that all your answers will really lead to the one reason, the one link, which will really be our basis, and that is love. Can you put up the next slide, please, Miss Mitch? It's really the love for our children that really binds us all together to think of ways in which we can teach, in which we can continue the learning of our children. Next slide, please. So it is the love that the family has, which fires up all our efforts to really do something, to really help the kids in learning, even if we are facing this crisis. So talagang love, no? And if we translate this love to Filipino, it's translated as pagmamahal or love. Pagmamahal or love pagmamahal is a 10-letter word, which is translated in English as love. No? And this pagmamahal, this 10-letter word pagmamahal, would be my anchor in sharing with you the tips in which you can capacitate yourselves as parents in order that you will be positioned to help your children in their new learning modalities. Let me begin with the first one, the P in pagmamahal. What is that P? One is punctuate your woes. For sure, all of us really are not feeling good about these things that we are experiencing now. So we are not happy about um, being stuck in our homes. We are not happy about going out on the streets wearing face shield, eye shield, face mask, and all that. And we are not happy about standing in line waiting for our turn to go to a mall and the things that we have been used to doing, we cannot anymore do at this time. So I'm sure many of us are really blaming some people, some organizations, some culture, some blaming many entities for the difficulty or the discomfort that we are experiencing at the moment. Now, if we are like that, if we could not punctuate our woes pertaining to this pandemic, then we are not positioned well to help our kids. So in Filipino, we say, tuldukan mo na kung ano yung mga woes that you have of this pandemic. So when you say tuldukan mo na, accept, no? Accept that we are in a crisis, that we are in this pandemic, that we cannot send our children to school, that we have no choice but be the teachers of our children. Stop blaming organizations, stop blaming the department for having these modalities, which will saddle us with so many things now as parents. Stop blaming, accept that this is it, okay? And you see, when we are accepting things as they are, it doesn't mean that it will change the whole thing. The situation, the crisis would still be there, but at least how we perceive, how we view things, that can change. So accept that we are here in this crisis and that our role as parents is now the primary teachers of our children. When you have come to accept, no, when you have come to a place of acceptance, it doesn't mean that the situation will change. The situation would still be here, probably the pandemic, who knows when this would end. But at least we are not, no? When we have accepted things, when we have punctuated our woes, we have we are not now what do you call this, we are not resisting the reality of our situation, and therefore when we are not resistant of the reality of our situation, then we can plan better on what should be done for our children to learn better. So punctuate your woes. Stop wishing that things were different, okay? Tanggapin mo na yan. It's ganun talaga, no? Ganun talaga yon. So, I do not know if in the previous speaking engagements I had with Vibal, if I shared my story. In 2015, I was diagnosed of cancer. So I'm a cancer survivor, and it helped me a lot. Really. That was a personal crisis. So it helped me a lot to accept what has become of me. And when I accepted it, and then I was able to chart my way to healing, to the management of the disease, to submit to the management that the doctor has for my disease. So acceptance really is very important. So again, punctuate your rules so that you will not be radiating negative energies to your children when you take on the role of being the teacher of your kids. Okay? All right. So we go now to the second tip, which is acquaint yourself with the learning tasks your child is undertaking or is about to undertake. For those of you who are sending your children to private schools, most of the private schools, like I'm speaking from my end, like here in Cagayan de Oro, most of the private schools, the big private schools have already opened their classes. So as parents, you should know, you should acquaint yourself with the learning task your child is undertaking or is about to undertake. Is it the ODL that your school is following or your child's school is following? Or is it the modular? Or is it the flexible learning? So here, for example, if you are following the online distance learning, whether it's online learning or modular distance learning, that should follow at least the most essential learning competencies that the Department of Education has established. So you should know so that you can help your children. You should know what this is. What is online distance learning? What is modular distance learning? Okay? Because you cannot help your children if you are not in the know as to what this modality is. Okay? Moving on. I have encountered in many videos on YouTube, and DepEd is vocal about this, the 5 Ps that you should follow in your in working with the modular learning, no? So you have the 5 Ps: paghahanda, pagtutungo, pag-aaral, pagbabalik, pagtugon. Paghahanda meaning so this paghahanda is not only done by the parents, it's also done by the teachers or the experts who prepare the modules for your kids. So on the part of the parents, you should be ready. Once you get hold of the modules that your children are given, then you should know and you should be familiar with the contents of the module, no? Because of course you will be helping your children how to answer those contents or how to answer the modules. So you cannot help if you do not know. And here, pagtutungo is the parents will be picking up the modules from a certain point. It could be from school or from their barangay, depending on the setup of your place. And then you have to study, no? Pag-aaral. And after you study with your kids, no? And after studying, you will return the module at a given time, and you have to give feedback to the teachers. So that these are the 5 Ps of DepEd. So for the learning package, this one you should be familiar with this. For those who are sending their children to the public school, DepEd has the learning package, no? And they have the learning module. This learning module, ito yung inaaral ng mga estudyante for the week. So this is delivered weekly. So this learning module now contains the subjects, the topics, no? The topics that are covered for the week for the subjects of your children. So here, in this learning kit, no? In this learning package, you will be seeing learning activity sheets. Can we hyperlink that, Miss Michelle? This is how it looks like. Okay, the learning activity supplemental worksheet, you call that. So the students will not answer on the module itself. They will have to use the activity sheets or the supplemental worksheets or answer sheets for their answers. No? Okay. And kindly return to that slide, Miss Mitch. Okay, so along with the learning package, so this is for the first week. Along with the learning package, you will have the student's profile. It's can we hyperlink that? So we have a sample. I got samples from the net. No? I got images from Google. And when you hyperlink that student's profile, kindly hyperlink that. So some schools will have this. This is just a sample. Other schools probably have another look of the student's profile. But basically, the details of your kids are contained in that student's profile, and you are to return that on the first week of classes. You are to return that for filing purposes of the Department of Education or of the school. Okay. So next up is the student's consent form. So they have a form along with a learning package that you will receive on the first week. And then we have the feedback form. Next would be the class program. This class program number 6, can we hyperlink that, Ms. Michelle? This class program is the schedule, no, for the week. So this is just a sample I got from the net. So this class schedule gives details on what things will be done on a particular time by your children. Okay, so they have a class program. So if they had a full class program before pandemic, when they came face to face with the teacher, now they will have now kind of a shortened program or schedule, because remember that that DepEd is focusing on the most essential learning competencies only. So not all of those schedules, or not the full schedule in the usual or in the old setup is followed in this new normal. Okay, then you have the distribution retrieval form as part of the learning package, and you also have the learners or pupils query slip. This one this one is a sample of the learners query slip. So in this slip, your children will be writing what they learned, what they are struggling on in the module. And there is also a part there for parents. This is something that you have to know. There is a part, I think the 6th part or the 5th part, yeah, wherein you will be writing your feedback there, or your, the concerns that you find as your child is doing the module for that particular week. So you are not really left hanging. Even if you're working on the module, you are also kind of heard, because you can write there your comments. And if you think that your child is taking it as too much a topic for the week, you can always feedback, you can always tell the teacher that, so that the teachers would know. Okay. And then we have the individual learners progress report. This individual learners progress report, this is what you will be signing on. So to indicate whether your daughter or your son has completed a task. So this will be needed, and this will also be returned every week. So when you go to school to submit your child's accomplishments or requirements, then you will be signing this form. So you see, in this new learning modality by DepEd, there are a lot of things that you need to know in order that you will be able to really assist or help your children. Now that's for DepEd. What about for private schools? No? For private schools, for private schools, some of them are using technologies, educational technologies for instruction. Some of them are using Google Meet, others are using Zoom, StreamYard, Skype, or Messenger Rooms. Whatever they choose to use as their mode of, or their what do you call this, the mode for them to deliver their lessons, you parents should know and should be acquainted with these technologies, in order that you will be able to help your children. Okay. And for classrooms, some private schools and are using learning management systems like Google Meet, like Google Classroom. Next slide, please. Google Classroom. Okay. You have Edmodo, maybe Schoology, Microsoft Teams. Okay. Or Vibal has LMS also. So if you are subscribed to the LMS of Vibal, then probably you are using that. Again, whatever is the LMS or the classroom that your school is having, you should be familiar with it. And most of these classrooms or learning management systems that schools are using will have parents access. So know if there is a parents access, so you can also monitor your child's progress or learning growth, because most of them will really have parents access. So you only request for the parents access, you can be given a code, and when you have the code, then you can check on your child, only your child, not your child's performance. So knowing or seeing your child's performance will also help you in taking the right path to help your child. All right, so we are now on the third tip, which is guide your child to follow routines. Okay, so when you say, remember the class program I presented earlier, that class program must be followed by the child for the week. Okay, now your teachers or the teachers of your children have arrange those subjects or those tasks thinking that they will really be covered, they can be covered in a week. Now you should direct your children to follow such routine. It's not that because they are having 1 week to cover or to fulfill or to complete the task that they will do it like last minute. You should guide your daughter or your son to really stick to the schedule. Now, although since they're given 1 week, no, and so if sometimes no time would not allow that they can really fulfill the indicated schedule, make sure that they will be able to make up for the time that they have not completed their task, so that in a week's time they are really done with the work. Okay, so guide your child. You should know the schedule, and you will be given this, no? So you should know the schedule so that you will be able to follow and really guide your children to follow routines or to follow their schedule. Okay. Next up is the M now, pagma, no? So M, manage your child's activities. Now, it doesn't mean that since they are free in the afternoon, most of the schools, they free some hours in the afternoon, no? With this modular thing or with this distance learning. It doesn't mean that they're free in the afternoon, they can have all their time in the afternoon to play games online or to watch TV or to have more exposure on screen. So manage, no, manage. If you think that the child needs to go out to do some physical exercise or to do a hobby, then so be it. Guide your children. Okay, guide your children. And if you think, going back to the schedule, if you think that the schedule is loaded for your child to complete, we can detect it as parents, we know. Like in the module, it can be saying that these topics are supposed to be covered in this particular day. But knowing your child's capacity, it's too much. So if it is too much, then you give feedback to the teachers. You're free to do that. So tell the teachers that your child is really doing this, but this activity really is too much. I don't think the teachers would be mad when they hear you say that, because it's an honest feedback. So you know better, and at this time, since you have plenty of time with your kids, you know your children's capacity. So if it's too much, then say so. If it is too little and there are things that you can fill in order that you can maximize the learning of your kids, then you know better. Okay, so you can do that. Next up is the fifth one: accommodate new ideas, new ways of doing things, and various options to maximize your children's learning. So I mentioned earlier that some schools free their afternoon. They only have sessions in the morning according to their schedule. So if you have like time for your child to have other things, no? And that they can avail. Like for example, they probably would want to enroll in a reading program, no? And time allows it. So it's if there's a reading program, they can enroll too. Like if it's an online reading program, if you think that they need it, and if you think that time allows, okay, then you may think of you may opt to enroll them to such. Or for instance, if you are struggling as a parent to understand or to teach your child on this particular concept, accommodate ideas and suggestions from your friends, no? Who are also having children of the same grade level. So probably we can get ideas from our friends also. Or you can go to Google, or you can go to YouTube, in order that you will be helped on how to understand, or to how to teach a certain concept which your child is finding difficulty in. Okay, next we go to minimize screen exposure or indulgence to something. This is applicable particularly for those who are having the uh, online distance learning. For online distance learning, it's not at all times that they will meet, like they will have a meeting on screen. So they can choose to have asynchronous meeting or asynchronous classes, meaning uh, not meeting at the real time, no? So uh, you check the schedule of your kids. If you are into pure online, check if really the schedule is not overexposing your child to screen. And I think the educational experts naman in your school have also checked that before they made the schedule. So if your child is enrolled to a pure online learning or online modality, then minimize, no? Since they are already exposed to the screen most of the time when they're doing their lessons. So after their lessons, minimize their screen exposure. Okay, so what are the things that you can do to minimize screen exposure? What are the low-tech activities that we can have for our children? Probably you can have reading with your child. You can read stories, like reading the physical book, not the ebook. Okay, playing with the child, promoting sports, journaling, okay, painting, storytelling, hiking, observing, sketching, designing, postcard writing, drawing, inventing, creating comics, building, collecting data. These are activities that you can use without the screen. So if you are thinking of minimizing screen exposure, you probably can think of having all activities for your child. Okay, moving on. Then we go to the seventh now. The seventh step, which is appreciate every gain or success of your child. So when we appreciate the gain or success of our child, it shouldn't be something, it's not necessary that it should be very big or very grand a success or a life-changing achievement for your child for you to appreciate. The little things that they do, celebrate and appreciate. No? Like for example, what are these little things? Probably little things like being able to or being able to wash the dishes, no? Without much mess as compared to before, or being able to put out garbage, no? Or being able to add two digits, whatever that is, whether big or small, in every gain or in every success that your child achieves, appreciate it. Okay, appreciate it. All right. Next, we have the eighth now. Harness your child's knowledge, skills, attitude, and talents. So now that we have time to observe our children. Unlike before, when we meet our children after school or after work, this time we meet them like from starting when they wake up till they go to sleep. We see them and we see their activities. And so we notice what their knowledge are, what their knowledge, their skills, their attitude, and talents are. We see that. And seeing how knowledgeable they are in this particular area, then we can harness it. We can nourish it. We can build on it. Okay? How do we do that? Going back to the going back to the low tech activities that I presented earlier in the previous slide. If your child is good, is knowledgeable about this, probably the child can make comics out of that. Or if the child is very good in painting, or if the child is showing abilities or talents in painting, probably you can provide opportunities by painting materials for your child to really maximize his or her skill or her talent on that. If the child is positive on this particular activity or on this particular concept, then support your child and highlight that as a good and positive thing so that the child will grow up having that positive attitude. All right. So if your child, for example, is good in violin, or in music, in in playing instruments, then support them. Okay, support them because this is the time when we can really see our children's abilities. No? We have plenty of time to see them grow, and so we have plenty of opportunities also to be a guide in their growth. So that's harnessing your child's knowledge, skills, attitude, and talents. We go to the second to the last tip, which is assess the learning of your child. So when you assess the learning of your child, you don't just ask the question, "O, kumusta ka? Tapos mo na ba yung ginawa mo? Are you almost done?" Or baka naman, if you see that they are not done yet, akin na nga yan, ako na magsagot niyan. Never ever submit to that temptation of completing the work of your child. Okay? Guide them, but do not do the work for them. Make them understand. Okay? Sometimes when we are too busy and we have no time to teach them, we'd rather do the work for them. And that's not helping them. That's not helping children grow, and that's not helping them understand. That would just indicate na pwede pala in life, pwede lang pala na si mama lang ang gagawa or si papa lang ang gagawa. Teach them how to do things. Now, I would suggest that when you assess the learning of your child, probably you can ask these questions. What are the 3 things that you learned today? What did you learn in English? If today the schedule is English, then you can ask, what did you learn from the module today? What 2 things about English that you learned from your module today? Not only that, when you assess, you don't only assess learning, you also assess where they are finding difficulty in. So you can ask, what difficulty did you encounter today? Or is it easy for you to add this? Or is it easy for you to divide this? So always ask the students. The moment that your children will have the narratives really on what they learn, what they find difficulty in, that's when you will know that they are learning or they are really into the module or into the learning loop. Because if they're not telling you anything, probably they're not doing, or something is happening there. So when they work on their module, they will know what they are good at or what they know already, and they will also tell you what part of that module or what part of their lesson they're finding difficult. Okay, so that's assessing the learning of your child. Or if you are, I know of one parent, what she does is she follows really lessons. She has own. She has her own lessons. She's doing an informal homeschooling. Informal because she's not enrolling her child to a homeschool institution. So she's just doing. She has her own schedule, and she checks. No, she also administers like the tests that teachers give, like the she also has her summative test, mga ganyan, for her child to measure learning. You can do that. I mean, however you would want to assess the learning of your child, you can do that. But again, my advice is easy. Just ask. No, just let them narrate what happened, what they learned, what they did not learn, what they want to learn. All these things, which are contained in the module. Finally, we are on the 10th tip, which is leverage on the available time to bond with your children. When you leverage, you make good use of, right? Of the available time to bond with your children. I mentioned this earlier that at this time, since we are stuck in our homes, we have limited time to go out. We can go out depending on your status. Like if you are MGCQ, so you have what do you call this one? You have a little freedom to go out, right? So when you have that, when you can go out, like probably you can go camping, you can go fishing, so long as you're following the government's protocol or mga precautionary measures in order that we will not be spreading COVID-19. So if you can do such activities with your children, do so, because this is the time. This is the time really in which we are given an opportunity to bond, to unite, to uh, to be with our children and to have them or to make them feel that we really love them. So there you have them, pagmamahal. Punctuate your woes, okay? Acquaint yourself with the learning task your child is undertaking. Guide your child to follow routine. Manage your child's activities. Accommodate new ideas, new ways of doing things, and various options. Minimize screen exposure or overindulgence to something. Appreciate every gain of your child. Harness your child's knowledge, skills, attitude, and talents. Assess the learning of your child and leverage on the available time to bond with your children. So, pagmamahal. Yan lang po. Ito po, this is really the bottom line. Love, this is the bottom line of all these things. Why are we so busy preparing for the opening of classes on October 5th? Why are we busy doing such tremendous jobs in order that learning will be continued? All because of love. That's the bottom line. Pagmamahal po. And with that, thank you very much for the time spent with me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doc. Now we will proceed po with our question and answer. So our first question po is from Miss Dina Tesorio. Paano po namin matutulungan ang mga magulang na may agam-agam po sa pagtuturo ng mga anak sa kadahilan ng grade 4 po ang natapos nila?
Can I just be clarified about the meaning of agam-agam? Is ito yung bang may alanganin? Does that mean?
Yes, I think so po, Doc.
Yun ba yun? Okay. Ay, apologize. Bisaya po kasi ako. Kaya, okay. Well, ito yung sinasabi ko, right, na accommodate new ideas, new ways. If we do not know, kasi we are limited in terms of educational attainment, we ask the help of our relatives or our friends or children in the house who may have understood the concept or who may have gone through that particular topic para you can ask help kasi syempre limited tayo kahit ba naman umabot ka na ng PhD ang dami mo pa ding gustong malaman and dapat malaman, right? So it's not only that because you have not finished elementary limited ka, every limited eh. Pati ako, I have lots of limitations there. Yes, did I answer that question? I hope.
Thank you po, Doc. Next question po is from Miss Hera Torres. As
Yes.
educators, how can we help our students' parents as they transition from being parents to parent-teacher?
Ito, I hope the one I presented na yung pagmamahal, no? The one I presented earlier, the 10 tips. You can use those 10 tips in helping parents. And ito, you as teachers then befriend your parents para naman they will be open. Kasi yung ibang parents naman kasi natatakot, nahihiya, no? To approach the teachers kasi baka naman si teacher is not so friendly. So if you are friendly with the parents, then they will be open to tell you what difficulty they are finding, what limitations they have to teach the children. And not only that, you can also ask directly from the teacher, teacher, paano ba ito tinuturo? Or how can I make this explanation easier for my kids? So there you have yun. So PR, pini-PRan, no? Yes.
Okay po, thank you po, Doc. Next question po is from Miss Claire Sarmiento. How can we motivate our children to adjust themselves into distance learning?
Okay, how to motivate? Personally ako, yun pa din yung parang the classic ba na motivation na they will be expecting for reward. It works eh. If it worked before, it would still work now, no? And it also works with my children. Yung ano ba, yung they will expect something. So they will remember routines, they will do good in their schedule, they will do good in the module, in the content of the module, they complete it, no? And with quality na completion yan. Expecting na after no sa weekend probably you will take them to, for example, take them to hiking, take them to camping, take them to fishing, or take them to somewhere that they are interested in going para ganado. Or isa din yun, I mentioned that before in my previous talks na you may increase, no? In order to motivate them, you may increase. Example, some homes are limiting their screen time for kids. Like you only have 1 hour or 2 hours screen time. That means you can watch TV or you can play online games 2 hours lang. So if they are doing well, you may reward them by increasing probably 30 minutes more. Okay? Just make sure they are not overexposed. Kasi we mentioned kanina na have to minimize screen exposure. Kung naka-online class yung batang yan and then you are increasing pa yung screen exposure niya for your reward, baka hindi ano yon. So hindi siya tumpak, no? So look for other ways in which you can reward your child. So yung mga alam niyo naman yung kumbaga kilala niyo yung mga anak niyo, no? How you rate them. Alam niyo kung ano yung mga likes nila. So, play with kung saan sila may liking. So, doon yung mga rewards.
Thank you po, Doc. Next question po is from Mr. Eman Gutierrez. What would be your message for parents who are already having a hard time to balance their work and responsibilities as parents and now also need to add teaching their kids to their responsibilities?
What advice do I give them? Ano yung message ko sa kanila?
Yes
Ang
po.
message sa kanila, ito yun. Wala tayong choice eh. Di ba? We have no choice but get on to this. We are all in this together. Eh. So there's no way out. I mean, if you really love your children, no matter how busy you are, you would be juggling things in order to go for that love of your children. I mean, I mentioned earlier that if you're really concerned about your children's future, if you really want your children to have a bright future and a good life, then kahit ba gaano tayo kapagod, no matter how stressed out we are, we find time. We find time to really sit with our children and teach them kasi walang choice. If only we have the choice then I think we would opt for the other choice. But at this time, wala tayong choice. Okay.
Thank you so much, Doc. For our last question po is from from Miss Michelle Del Rosario Diezmo. As of today, my child is very hard to convince to study every day because they don't have classes yet. What is the possible solution for this po?
I'm sorry, what's that? The child is having difficulty.
As of today, my child is very hard to convince to study every day because they don't have classes yet. What is the possible solution for this po?
Okay, so remember before pandemic, pag summertime, 'di ba, yung your children are kind of forgetting schoolwork. And so when it's close to opening of classes, we have that difficulty, 'di ba? Ganon din 'yun sa new normal. When October 5 comes, parang hindi pa sila set. So, parang hindi pa nila maano, but I would suggest a week before the opening of classes, like drum up the interest really, or like put it in the air na classes are opening soon, ganito ganyan, and we are preparing, the materials are ready, para hindi sila manibago, para you are conditioning their minds now na they will also have a shift from the rest and play na mode to something serious now, which is taking on the concepts, the lessons that are in the module or that are given by their teachers online. So, kumbaga, i-condition lang. Condition your child na always say, oh, classes are opening on the 5th na ha, so you have to prepare. So, if you're getting up like 8 o'clock, no, and the schedule says you have to start working for English subject at 7:30, then you condition your children na they have to get up 6:30 siguro or 7. Conditioning para hindi mabigla, para they can get on naman bit by bit, no, as the opening of classes draw near, ano na kumbaga ma-attune sila, hindi sila maninibago. Okay? It's guiding them to really do the shift, no? Do the shift from yun nga, from walang ginagawa to meron ng gagawin. Yes po.
Thank you so much, Doc. That's all the questions that we have for now. So, any last reminders po to our viewers for this morning?
Okay, so yun lang siguro, no? Keep safe, and now that we are having, may bago na ngayon, di ba? We're using na mga face shield and eye shield and all that. Whenever you go out, be safe, follow the precautionary measures para po tuloy-tuloy nating labanan itong crisis na ito, and we will be able to before we know it, siguro matatapos na ito. Just be positive, relax, and enjoy life. Yun lang po.
Thank you so much, Doc. So there we have it. In behalf of Ibal Group Incorporated, I would like to thank you, Doc Mercelita, for being our speaker today, for giving our viewers an insightful and inspiring learning session. It is an honor to have you today, po. And to all our Kabibal viewers, all thanks to you for your continuous patronage to our daily learning session. We'll see you in our YouTube session this afternoon at 2 p.m. Muli maraming salamat and happy Thursday to everyone. Goodbye!
Bye!